welcome to Playful Progressions with me, Rosa. And today we're going to be talking all about the four developmental domains. So, as I stated, there are four developmental domains. There's physical, social, emotional, and cognitive development. An easy way for you guys to remember this is by PECS. So that's physical, emotional, cognitive, and social. When I first started, I remembered them as pies. So physical, intellectual. So I remember them at this cognitive as intellectual. I'm sorry, and then it was emotional and social. But let's go ahead and just jump right into it, and we're gonna start with the physical. All right. So here we are with the physical developmental domain. And physical development is separated or categorized into um, through two different parts of development. So you have your gross motor and you have your fine motor development. Okay, so gross motor is your large muscle movements. You're running, you're jumping, you're kicking, you're throwing, you're skipping, you're dancing. And in fine motor, we have more hand focused activities. So you're drawing, you're writing, you're cutting with scissors, Play-Doh. Another one would be using tongs or using your hands for eating, using utensils, like that. So another part of physical development that people don't really talk about is your sensory development, but we're going to focus on that on a different video. So that's all your senses, development of your senses. So that basically wraps up the physical developmental domain. We're going to move on to the next one, which is our social developmental domain. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go to our next developmental domain, which is social development. And in social development, it is mostly about how you relate to others socially. How do you relate as an individual socially? Do you make friends? How do you talk to your friends? Do you cooperate in a group? Do you express yourself? Do you use expressive language? How are you with receptive language? Do you understand social norms? Are you resilient? Do you know where your hands are? Do you know where your feet are? Stuff like that. So it's mostly to do with yourself and your self-esteem, stuff like that. It's all part of social. So we're going to move on to our next domain, which is emotional. So we have the emotional developmental domain. People commonly group together the social and the emotional developmental domain because they have a lot in common. You can't really talk about relationships and self-awareness and self-esteem without talking about emotions, and it's all grouped together. So the emotional developmental domain is more focused on emotions, feelings, and your relationships. So how do you recognize emotions? Do you know what it looks like when your friend looks sad? Do you know what it looks like or what it feels like when you are sad? How do you help someone who is feeling sad or feeling angry? What do you do when you feel this way? What do you do when your mom or your dad leaves for the day and you're at daycare or you're with grandma? Do you cry for 5 minutes? Do you cry for 35 minutes? I don't know. That's all under emotional development. It's all very, very important. All right, so that basically sums up the emotional developmental domain. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next and our last developmental domain. Can you guess what that is? If you guess that it was physical, you are wrong. It is cognitive. So if you guess it was cognitive, then you are correct. We are on cognitive development. And cognitive development is really focused on the thinking, the problem solving, the that says learning processes. It's supposed to be learning processes. The learning processes. Um, so it has a lot to do with that higher level thinking, that your executive functioning skills. Um, has a lot to do with, well, it's more connected to the content area knowledge. So your math and your science and things of that sort. Um, that basically covers cognitive development. So that wraps up our presentation on developmental domains. I will leave you guys with this nice quote from Loris Malaguzzi. He founded the Reggio Emilia approach. If you don't know much about Reggio Emilia, it's wonderful. So here's the quote: creativity becomes more visible when adults try to be more attentive to the cognitive processes of children and to the results they achieve in various fields of doing and understanding. So basically, it's about the process, not necessarily the product. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.